Hi, everyone. Welcome to another Meet the 818 Zoom interview. We're here with Mr. Jonathan Andrade, creator and owner of Canswithwicks. Hey, Jonathan.
Hello, thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.
Of course, thanks for having us. So tell us about Canswithwicks. I got interested because I think I saw you at one of the pop-ups at Cafe Aficionado.
Okay.
Also, I just thought it was interesting. I mean, beer cans recycled as candles. So tell us about that.
Well, it started kind of that way. I've been a craft beer fan for a couple of years now. I guess I would consider myself a real craft beer fan for a couple of years now. It started with just having leftover cans. I saw something like it online a couple of years ago, and I always wanted to get into turning them into candles. It wasn't until the pandemic started that I actually had the time to do it. So I made myself a couple of like citronella candles inside of them.
Nice.
With soy wax because I just hate mosquitoes that much. So I made them for my backyard. A couple buddies saw them and wanted a couple, and it just kind of snowballed from there. More friends saw it on Instagram, and I guess I would consider it more of an official thing once I made Canswithwicks Instagram. That's when it was more so like, okay, I'm going to be making candles now. So yeah.
So it started off trying to drive the mosquitoes away.
Yes, I mean, I feel like a lot of things start that way, but for me, I mean, it was obviously just a nice way to use it. I have a candle here just to kind of show people if they don't know.
Nice.
One, it looks like that on the inside. So, yeah, mostly local cans is what I use because that's what I usually drink. So that's what I end up filling up usually. But the more time has gone and people have noticed, they'll send me cans. I have a friend in Bakersfield that sends me boxes of cans that he goes through. So the craft beer community has been very helpful in making sure I don't run out of vessels to fill up. So
very nice. How has the response been with the community with this? Because I think it's really unique. And the next pop-up I see you, I will buy some. So save some for me.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been great. Everyone that sees it is like, oh, it's so unique. I've never seen anything like it. I don't claim that I created the thing. Obviously, I saw it online years ago that someone was doing this already. I think more people are just interested in because it's more localized. So a lot of the people I saw before were making them in like Michigan, North Carolina, out there in that area more. And they use their cans. So I was always curious as to when I would see some local ones, and I thought, well, why not me? Why don't I just start making them? So I think people really fall in love with that. Like the 818 ones, people really love those because obviously they're in the area. They go there all the time. So when they see something that's familiar to them, they really do. I think they attach themselves more to it. And everyone's really, I hate to say it, most of the time they don't even end up lighting them. They just keep them as like a keepsake or a conversation piece. I don't know if it's on the bookshelves or on their tables. But it's really just interesting just to see which ones they pick too, like based off scents, based off which brewery. I realize now that people like more natural flavors or scents because I use essential oils. So it's more so like lemongrass or eucalyptus, something that's a little more pungent and actually has benefits. Or some people just like blueberry pancake, where it's more just like of a fragrance, a sweet smell that has no benefits, but just smells amazing. Like I just made my wife one and she lights it every day. I've made her multiple candles. She never lit any of them. And this blueberry pancake one is the one that she lights every day now. So
very nice, very nice. So how did you come up with, I guess, like, when I think candles, I think, pretty glass vases or, just other types of vessels. So how did you, I mean, I know you mentioned other people were doing it, but how did you come up with connecting candles with beers, A? B, how do you come up with the flavor? I mean, not the flavors, sorry, the scents.
right. Well, initially it was, again, I was making myself candles and I thought, okay, I could fill up, those glass jars or something, like use an old pasta sauce or something.
Yeah.
It just didn't interest me as much. And then I had a couple of cans where I was just really, I forget where it was exactly or which brewery it was that I had at the time, but I thought I'm going to use this one. So the trick initially was figuring out how to open them without just destroying the tops. I use a regular household can opener, and it's amazing how difficult it can be to open them. But once you get a hold of it, they come out really smooth. I don't know if you can even see it in here, but like the inside is just clean cut. Took a while to get that, but And even now, I'll still chew up a couple of cans with my opener. But so the idea was, oh, a craft beer, like, yeah, I liked candles before, but I was never really big on lighting them. And I just knew that if I put them in something that I do enjoy, then it might be more useful to me. And it just seemed cool, like having it in the backyard on the table, just a random craft beer can that's burning from the inside.
Very nice, very nice. What I guess what local brewery have you had more containers of, as far
Well,
as
yeah, it definitely started with the 818 and hand brewed. That's my closest ones to me, at least. I mean, the closest one is 818.
yeah.
And then hand brewed, we obviously I've done some stuff with them before with Brews with Masters, which is something else that was that kind of segued into this, I guess, or got me into deeper into the craft beer scene. But they were really nice, and I've always kind of supported them because they're local, and I try to avoid the big beer brands and anything you can get at like 7-Eleven. I try to support local, which is kind of why I feel like I fit in really well with the craft beer community and the craft community. Just at these markets that I've been to, everyone's so friendly. That definitely 818. 818 was actually the first one that reached out to me, and they wanted to order some for their tasting room. It was an idea of mine to kind of fine tune first before I obviously started offering them up as a product for breweries to sell. But once I was like on the cusp already of reaching out to breweries, Brian at 818 sent me a message and was asking me like, hey, what would it take for us to order a couple of cans? And they ended up getting a couple dozen that first go around, and since then they probably ordered more cans than any other brewery. But hand brewed also, they carry a couple of my cans or my candles, and then McLeod also has my candles there. So it slowly started spreading throughout definitely this area. I've tried to branch out into further areas, but it's kind of harder to go retrieve the cans, fill them up, and then send them back out. So I just try to stay more local anyways.
Got it, got it. And how long does it usually take you to make one can? Or, like, how is that process for you?
Well, I've always tried. I was doing that math recently. I had a feeling you'd ask me that question.
I am sorry, I have to.
I couldn't really pinpoint it actually, because it starts with, obviously, it comes with, there's a full beer that we start with. So I got to do the grueling task of emptying a beer can the only way I know how, which is by drinking it. So it's hard work, but someone's got to do it, right? So,
right.
So usually it's that, or if someone donates it to me, then of course that. But then I'll clean them out, so I'll soak them in soap and water just overnight, or just whenever I get a chance to. And then I'll open them all up, make sure I scrub them all out and keep them clean, dry them out. Once they're all dry, then they're ready to go. So it's mostly waiting around for the wax to melt. They use soy wax.
Yeah.
So I do that, let it melt all the way down to the right temperature. And then I'll just start pouring in. I have like actual pint glasses that I used to drink beers out of are now my pouring glasses. So I individually sent each candle in those, and then I'll pour them into the can after I've mixed them up and let the essential oil really stick to the wax. And before that, I have to actually put the wicks in there. So they're hemp wicks that I use because they burn a little bit slower than the cotton wicks. But that's another step where I have to just get them. I use a boba straw. Like, they're a little bit fatter. I can like use it to get to the bottom and get it right down the center. It took a while to get that right too. But and then after I pour them, I just let them dry out or dry up first. And then I'll use a heat gun to coat it so they can get a nice smooth top on there. And it's not so like cavernous or anything. And then after that, I just clean them up to make sure there's no wax on the outside and snip the wicks. And then my wife is nice enough to hand write all the scents on the tags, because if I wrote them, no one would know anything. It would be just chicken scratch. So she writes it nice and neat for everyone to know, and then I'll just slap those on there and they're ready to go.
Nice, very nice. And how do you come up with the scents? Is it like your wife just goes around saying, hey honey, try this? Or
yeah.
Like, is it just like, divine intervention that goes, what sounds or what would smell great? Peppermint.
yeah. There's definitely a lot of that where my wife's like, why don't you do something like this? Because again, it really does vary as far as who the person is, what they're looking for, or if it's for someone else and they're looking for something specific. But in the beginning and even till now, I mostly stick with essential oils. So I don't really mix a lot of scents unless someone wants them like combined. So I usually stick with just straight lavender or eucalyptus, lemongrass, I recently got like jasmine's become a really popular one since I got that essential oil. But then I have other ones where I had a buddy of mine send me a bunch of his oils that he had just hanging around, and it had like gingerbread and
Oh, wow.
what was the other one? Pumpkin pie.
Oh,
So
nice.
basically, it was really like I'll just fill whatever one. I try to match them sometimes, but other times it's like I'll fill whatever cans I have. But for the most part, it's just kind of whatever comes my way. I just stick with the main essential oils, and then if there's other, like if someone orders, someone ordered Nag Champa, it's like it smells like incense. But I won't just order enough for one candle. I'll order more, so I just make a couple extra, and then if people like it, then I'll just keep ordering. So that's how jasmine made it into the usual cycle of scents I go through.
Nice. Very nice. What is your best seller so far?
I think lavender is probably the most frequently ordered or chosen at these markets.
Mhm.
I think it's more of a because people know the scent, they know the name of it. But jasmine's really caught up recently. One that was a surprise was tobacco vanilla. It doesn't really smell like
Really?
tobacco. Yeah, it's actually I always say it smells like horchata, kind of like it's sweet, kind of got that vanilla smell. It doesn't smell
Yeah.
anything like tobacco, so I'm not sure why they call it that, but that one is really popular. When people smell that at the market, I just can't keep them in stock enough. They only come in smaller bottles, so I make like 6 at a time, and those are always the first ones that go when I do have those. So yeah.
Nice, nice. So aside from hand brewed, aside from 818, where else do you sell your oh, aside from pop-ups, where else can people find your candles? You know?
I mostly work off Instagram. So people send me messages. They'll tell me, "Oh, I like the can that you posted." I'll usually post empty cans that I have.
Yeah.
Since these markups started, or markup season really picked up, I haven't had time to update my cans
Mhm.
because I still have like more than 50 cans outside that are just kind of waiting to be filled. So I try to update them, but it's always like, oh, one person wants one, and it's just kind of they're constantly cycling. So with the markets, I've just gotten to the habit of I'm going to fill them all up with whatever scent, and then I can just make people can come and choose that way, which is better. I like interacting in person anyways, so
Yeah.
it's so much better than obviously messaging. But I do get specific orders, so people want like 818 cans. I don't really make them as much because I provide them for the tasting room, so I try to keep them exclusive to there. But
Yeah.
this one, as you can see, it's got this one has been filled with the beer before. It's one
Yeah.
that I ordered or got I forget when it was. I think it was in February I had these, but
Mhm.
usually with theirs, they give me cans that have never been sealed before. So they have like that lip still that's never been pressed down.
Oh, nice.
Um, yeah.
Oh man. So um as far as well, with everything opening up and all that, is this something that you would still be continuing on in like the next year, the next couple months? Where do you see your I wouldn't even say project, sorry. Where do you see Canswithwicks going? In the future?
Yeah, I mean, even I ask myself the same question all the time, like how far is this gonna go? It started as making myself candles and some buddies, and I was like, oh, it's a nice way I could make even gifts, so I don't have to worry about buying gifts. I can make unique gifts and give them, and then
Right.
it slowly again snowballed into this. So even the markets were something I thought I'd never go to, and it's
Mhm.
slowly been like I have a canopy now, and I have a table. My wife got me a tablecloth. She's like, if you're going to be out there, you need to represent yourself well. So if anything, I give her a lot of credit for how everything looks when I do show up at a market, because I have she got me a logo, like this huge wooden plaque from
Oh,
Mari Chris,
nice.
is a lady on Instagram that made me a nice plaque with my logo on it. So and then my wife got me stands for each of them. So really, she gets all the credit for making everything look nice there. But I never even imagined doing that. I kind of always hoped to provide breweries with it for their tasting rooms, and I'd give them wholesale prices. So it's not like I'm making all the money off of them. We split whatever they end up selling, which is nice for them, and it really just gives me my money back for the wax and the oils and the time. But as far as the future, I've already had some where I left them on consignment at places. So I have like candles at Simi Valley Homebrew has a couple of my candles on display there. So when they run out, they let me know and I'll make them more. I have a store in Santa Clarita I'm going to start providing for too.
Mhm.
They have like an event for Father's Day coming up.
Oh,
So
nice.
my candles will be there for a week just on display there. I had them at Valley Beverage Co. in, I think it's Sherman Oaks, technically.
Yes.
Yeah, I had them there for a while. So even the thought of that is like wild, just having a thing I made literally in my backyard now on display at stores, and people. It's just crazy to see how far these candles go. I mean, even to the East Coast, I've delivered now, and it's just cool to,
Oh,
especially when they order West Coast cans. Like I've had people in Florida order 818 cans, even though I mean it's an area code over here, but they just like the design, and it's just cool that a can that would be traditionally just recycled, or what I used to recycle, now making it and giving it really a second life, because these will burn for more than 100 hours if
oh
you just
wow.
leave it lit. So rather than them just going in the trash or in the recycling center, they get to actually be enjoyed, and the artwork is just amazing on these things too. So it's cool when people who don't even drink beer will come up to the tables and look at all the different designs and say like, wow, these are amazing. Did you do these? I'm like, no, these are real graphic designers who are putting these things together. And so it's just cool to be that bridge to another person who would not have gotten to enjoy the artwork if hadn't weren't for me making them into candles. So
Yeah, no, that's pretty awesome. And it's a great way to also showcase the breweries. It's just, I mean, that's advertising right there.
definitely. And
you know,
yeah.
if I saw it in reverse, like if I saw your candles first, then I would be like, ooh, what brewery is that? And what was in it? Then I'm like, okay. But because I know it in, not in reverse, but the usual, let me empty your can and give you give you this to
Exactly.
make a candle. Yeah. So
And it's great. Like I get a lot of like return customers who are like, oh, well, I've gotten a couple, and then they'll even tell me like, oh, I was at the store and I saw this cool can. I grabbed it for you. So they'll now drink a can just because of the design, which is obviously the point of the artwork anyways, is to catch your eye so you buy it. But then they're sending it my way so I can turn it into a candle, either just to donate it to me or just so they can have it for themselves. And I've also had people who have like, my uncle saved, I think it was a Lakers can from like, oh, it was more than a decade old, from it
nice.
was like an old Pepsi or old Sprite can.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was able to open it up, just threw away whatever weird liquid was in there now after sitting there for a decade, and then turned it into a candle. So now he doesn't have a weird soda can sitting on his shelf. It's a candle in a retro Lakers Sprite can. So it's cool.
Right. Oh my gosh, that is so cool. You have to take a picture and share. Or
Oh,
have you already
definitely.
and I missed it? I don't know.
I'll have to dig it up, or I'll have him send one, because he has a couple of different ones that he got. And he also went and got me these Laker ones that recently came out. They're kind of a special release that I haven't been able to find in the Valley, but he's in Orange County. He was like, hey, I saw these cool cans. I bought you 5 tall cans that they're the 24-ounce cans.
Mhm.
And they were really popular too. So now I'm all out of those as well. But
Wow.
yeah.
So here's a question. It sounds like it makes you really, or it keeps you busy, like making these candles. How do you keep up with the demand?
It's actually, luckily, it's been really flexible. I make them whenever I'm available. I mean, my main thing now, well, since the pandemic started, has been watching my son. He's now 17 months, so it's
Oh,
been
wow.
like trying to
Oh,
keep up with him.
mhm.
I got laid off right when the pandemic started, so it was nice to. My son was born in January, then the pandemic started that March,
Yeah.
so I was able to just hop right back into my paternity leave, and I was just watching him. And but the inconvenient thing was like, okay, how do I figure out a work schedule with trying to figure out his nap schedule and all this? And so it works out to where I can cook these at night once my wife's home, and he's napping or going to sleep already. I usually head out to the backyard and I start making candles at night. So it gives me time to just kind of wind down for the day too, and just kind of hang out in the back, listen to music, and wait for the wax to melt. But it's been not so bad. Usually the orders come in waves, so I'll get like a lot of orders. But like the other day, I made 24 candles, and the
Wow.
process is pretty quick now. Like as far as knowing how long to wait for the wax, how long to let it sit with the oils, and it's been pretty fast like now. But when I got the order from 818, they just recently got 48 cans,
Oh, wow.
and all citronella. So it's usually easier with 1 scent.
Yeah.
But even then, it's mostly again waiting for wax to melt. So, but it's not been so bad. Like I said, it comes in waves, so it'll be a couple orders here, a couple orders there, and it's always been usually it doesn't get too hectic to where I feel like I'm working. It's mostly like, oh, I have a couple candles here or there to make. And then now, especially with the markets, if I have a custom order for something, I usually make a couple extra ones that I can take to a market with me later. So
Very nice. Is there any pop-ups that you're going to be showing up to in a couple weeks or?
yeah, definitely. This weekend I don't know when this will air or go on Instagram, but this weekend I'll be at the Valley Relics Museum with
Okay.
Makers Market Chatsworth. They're having this last event of their season at the Valley Relics Museum, which is awesome. I've never been there before.
Oh,
They were
you'll
actually
love it.
okay, good. I'm really looking forward to it because we get to walk around and check all the cool things out. But before they were doing their events by my creative outlet in Chatsworth, which is right next to like Lace Sisters and across from Los Toros.
Mhm.
It was in a empty yard there, which was great. But this one's, I guess, a lot bigger and a lot more space and just like we're expecting a lot more people. So that's this weekend on Sunday. I think that's 11 to 3. And then next weekend, to the next weekend or the weekend after. The 19th, I have a concert that I'm going to. A couple of craft beer guys that I know just from Brews with Masters and doing videos for them. They're having a hip hop show at Aero Lodge Brewing in Covina, and they needed a couple vendors, so I'm going to go out there with making mostly candles in their cans that they gave me from before with their labels, but also just selling all my usual cans too. So that one's going to have some really, I'm not sure how big of a hip hop fan you are, but some real legends in the game are going to be there performing. So I'm really excited for that too. I get to go to a concert that I would usually pay for. I get to work the event, listen to music for free, obviously, and then also get to share my candles with people. So that's on the 19th. Yeah.
I'll have to look that up. I've been so out of the loop with concerts.
I mean, there wasn't a lot to look up to or to
Yeah.
look up for. I mean, now that everything's slowly opening up, I think this is only their second event since the whole pandemic. They had a bottle share last month that I wasn't able to make it to, but they had it down in El Segundo at their HQ. It's a Beer Thug Life and Hip Hop Craft and Chelas Moon. They're out there. They have a warehouse out there that they mostly do their beer stuff with, or they're like microbrews. But they had a bottle share there recently, which looked awesome. And I unfortunately I couldn't make it, but
Oh
I
man.
had to make sure that I made it to this one. And then I
Absolutely.
have another one. Oh, Cafe Aficionado is another one that's coming up. They're so awesome. I mean, I saw your video on them, which is cool. I mean, they deserve all that love and all that all the credit they've been getting. So the event they have in their parking lot is I've tried to frequent that one as much as possible. I'll be there later this month as well.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's slowly I've been getting it to where I'm somewhere every weekend. So yeah, now it's more so like, okay, what weekend am I not doing something so I can either, my wife's birthday's coming up, so I can't work that weekend, that's for sure. Or it's just like I don't want to double book or back to back. If I do two events like one day and then the one right after, then it kind of gets a little hectic because then I have to have double candles ready because most of the time I come back with maybe half my candles. So I'll go out with like 60 candles and come back with maybe like 30. So, but then I have to replenish it for the next event. So I try to spread them out too.
Yeah, no, it sounds like, I mean, it sounds like Zen work because, waiting for the wax to cool down.
Yeah.
But it sounds so hectic too. Like if it comes in waves and then you have a big order one day and then you're slowing down, like it just, yeah, I don't know how you do it, but that's awesome.
Thanks.
So one last question. What, like making the what's challenge or what do you find challenging in this project of yours? Just, the one thing that's challenging to you.
Challenging? I don't know if anything's really challenging. Most of it's like trying to figure out, I'm trying to represent all the breweries. I want to get everyone in there. So if I haven't had, like, let's say a beer from an Orange County brewery in a while, then I'll try to go support that and buy them locally and then fill those cans up. So then people have options as well.
Yeah.
So mostly it's trying to find that balance. Like there is really just like, I want to give people options and I also want to show love to all of them because like I was saying with Brews with Masters, Derek and I, my buddy Derek, we do this series where we highlight breweries locally. So we've done like Hand Brewed, 818, McLeod. We've done Telco in Santa Clarita. We did, oh man, there's so many. Pacific Plate. We did Brew Yard, one of my other favorite. Exactly. Yeah. Brew Yard, another place that has my candles now in their tasting room. So that's always, it's cool to, especially that one. That one's a popular can that you had there.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I'll
but
send
really,
it over to you.
yeah. Okay. I appreciate it. Yeah. Save all those. I see them in the background too. So
Oh yeah,
definitely
absolutely.
save those. But mostly it's been just trying to spread the love and make sure everyone gets represented. Because if I go to a place with a bunch of 818 cans, like sure, a couple people will like it, but I want everyone to have their artwork appreciated. And also most of the time it ends up to where we're, yeah, I'll talk to some candle stuff at these markets, but for the most part, people want to know about the beer. Like, oh, how was that one? Or what would you compare that to? So we end up talking more beer than we do candles, which is awesome because now I get to tell people, oh, you got to try it, go out, to Chatsworth to Dry Hand Brewed, so it's always cool to just send them on their way because they're so cool and so helpful with us. Like we go out of our way, or we don't go out of our way, they go out of their way to make sure we can come and talk to them, spend the morning with them, so we can highlight their breweries. But they're always so nice and so gracious to have us there too. So it's always nice to give back and then hopefully bring some more people their way as well. So
That's awesome. I just want to ask, like, what's your favorite kind of beer? Since we're on the topic of beer.
my favorite, I like a West Coast IPA, something hoppy, something dank usually. I also like some lagers, like Enegren and Moore Park is a place you can go and get a nice lager or pilsner or something along those lines, something crisp for the summer days. Another brewery we went to feature, but it's just, yeah, usually I go with the West Coast IPA, something where you get to really taste the hops. And I'm not too big on on a hazy. I'll drink them and I will enjoy them, but I'm not going to go out of my way to, like, I'm mostly, if I'm at like a Total Wine or any random liquor store, I'll look for the West Coast IPAs.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, I will try that. I haven't tried a West Coast IPA yet, so.
Okay. Oh, 818's got a good one. You got to swing by then, and hopefully that's close to you.
No, it's close. I'm more of a dark beer, so I do like the cherry bombs, the Belgians, and all that. So,
okay, nice.
Yeah, I haven't tried that yet. Good recommendation.
Okay. Yeah, it might not be up your alley. That's the beauty of beer is that there's something for everyone, but you're not gonna like all of them. So
Absolutely,
I'm sure you'll find something you like. Some are less dank and less that hoppy, overly hoppy kind of taste, but I'm sure you'll find one there. Either there or one of the local spots will have something for you.
Oh no worries. I'm familiar. But okay, so how can they find you, order, follow? Go for it.
I'm only pretty much on Instagram at Canswithwicks. I was pretty straightforward with what I was offering. It is cans with wicks in them, so soy wax candles and cans. A lot of people were like, "How could you not name it craft beer candle?" Because the candle thing. But those are all taken, of course, because everyone thinks of that. So, but the cans with wicks on Instagram. I haven't done like Twitter or even Facebook really, but usually Instagram is where I can keep everything organized rather than having like a million places where messages are coming, like different orders are coming in. Like I've avoided Etsy and all those things. I'd rather just people come to me on Instagram and either just talk about the beers I have on the cans I have, or just whatever cans they want to order, or any recommendations. I always love some recommendations on new beers coming out or anything like that. So that's where I can be reached. Other than that, yeah, it really is just on Instagram.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Hopefully we'll catch you this weekend at Valley Relics.
Oh, definitely. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, and don't worry, this will air before then.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me. This is awesome. Again, I've never had anyone really take interest in the cans. So yeah, they'll come and ask me how it came about. But when you reached out and said you wanted to ask me a couple questions, I was definitely shocked to say the least, but also kind of flattered. So thank you for asking me some questions.
You're welcome. And thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you.